When I started this channel and I made the transition to NBA content, I had one goal in mind, and one of those goals is that I wanted the Phoenix Suns to get the recognition they deserve. For context, about 3 months ago, I made my return to NBA YouTube, and I made my video called How the Phoenix Suns Tricked the NBA, where I talked about the media and how they did not discuss the Phoenix Suns. Well, here we are now about 3 months later, and the Phoenix Suns are finally getting some respect that they deserve. However, it's not fully the amount that I think they should. However, some people are finally recognizing them. You got some analysts saying that this is the best team in basketball, and I'm going to be showing some examples in this video, and then you have some other analysts that are just saying, oh, this is the top team in the West. Which again, I've been doing this for months, and when I was on that train of saying, hey, you know, the Phoenix Suns don't get the recognition they deserve, and I was one of the only people saying that, at least when it came to NBA YouTubers, and I kind of started this train of it, and then all of a sudden every Phoenix Suns fan in the world was like, hey, that's kind of true, they really don't get talked about as much. So in today's video, I want to go over some examples on how the Phoenix Suns are finally getting some respect. I'm going to show you some media clips, and I'm also going to show you a little bit of them getting disrespected, but I'm not even mad about that, because at this point, it's starting to seem like the respect is kind of outweighing the disrespect, if that makes sense. Of course, before I get into the content, if you guys to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if your notifications on. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel by the end of the year, and your subscription would be greatly appreciated. Let's get into the video. Now, my first example isn't exactly the NBA media. This is more, I guess, whoever does the NBA power rankings. But for a good month and maybe even longer, the Phoenix Suns have been #1 on the power rankings consecutively for, like I said, about a month. The one on the screen right now is as of March 7th. And I mean, it actually looks pretty legit. When you have the Suns at 1, Heat at 2, I think the Celtics are one of the hottest teams in basketball, and the Grizzlies and Nuggets, who are also some of the hottest teams in basketball. And if you go into the responses, there are some people that are like, you know what, this is a very good list. And obviously there's the people with these fucking young boy profile pictures talking about how the Lakers aren't on there or the fucking Nets are. It's really ridiculous. But hey, I got an NBA Twitter video coming out soon. Now, for my first example when it comes to NBA media, let's talk about Mina Kimes. So I ain't gonna lie, I had a little crush on back in the day. So for some reason they wouldn't let me add the clip, but basically she just talked about the Miami Heat and Suns game and how well the Phoenix Suns played, and I'm gonna talk about the clip here in just a second. But yeah, sorry about that. For context, if you guys did not know, a couple days ago the Phoenix Suns had played the Miami Heat, and this was a game that a lot of people thought was close. Yes, the Heat did not have Jimmy Butler, however the Phoenix Suns didn't have Chris Paul, so it's a pretty even matchup, and the Phoenix Suns would go on to blow them out by 26. I gotta say, that was also one of my favorite games of the year. Just the way they were able to play, their defense was amazing, and just everyone seemed like they were on point. And I've been saying this for the longest time, but yeah, I think the Phoenix Suns are the best team in the NBA. In fact, they've done something that no one else has done so far. They've clinched a playoff spot. It's not the #1 seed yet, that's not locked for sure. However, it's just a playoff spot, which I still think is very important. However, we have like 15 games left. So I expect over these next couple weeks for the Phoenix Suns to finally lock up the #1 seed and then rest their starters. Now let's talk about Jalen Rose, who's someone I've poked fun at because of the whole 81-point game, which technically wasn't even his fault. However, the other day he said something about Phoenix that I think I should show y'all.
God, this is no fluke. Now think about it. They're playing without the best backcourt in the NBA currently. Right. And Chris Paul and Devin Booker, who helped lead them in the NBA Finals, who are also terrific in the clutch.
See, a lot of people right now, including Warriors fans, like, oh, we don't have Draymond Green, that's why we're losing. And then you have Laker fans being like, oh, we just suck, that's why we're losing. All jokes aside, a lot of teams face injuries, and that's something normal. And Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns are no exception of that, as they've been going through some injuries lately. Now, what's good is that Chris Paul has been slowly making a return, and there's been some clips of him at shoot around, you know, getting some shots up, so you love to see that. I want to remind y'all, Cam Johnson's been out for a while, and I'm not sure how long it's going to take him to come back. So while the Phoenix Suns are dealing with some injuries right now that are very key parts of their team, I'm proud of this team and the way they've been able to play with these injuries. They have lost a lot more games than normal, which I expected, because then again, you went through a lot of injuries and you don't have the best backcourt in the NBA. However, I think we can all appreciate Cameron Payne and what he's done. I mean, I feel like he's kind of taken that role as the point guard, and he's done pretty good at it. Now, the reason why this team isn't losing all their games and why they're not folding holding, for example, with a team like the Pelicans is because the fact that they have a lot of depth. And I've said this before, but I feel like the best teams in the NBA and the teams that win championships are the teams that have a lot of depth, which is why I'm so glad that the Phoenix Suns extended Cameron Payne so that we would have him in case Chris Paul went down. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is just straight up JJ Redick. I could show you all the clips in the world that JJ Redick has said about the Phoenix Suns being a complete team, the best team in the NBA, but let's talk about him for a sec. I won't lie to you guys, I think JJ Redick is honestly the best NBA analyst right now in the NBA, and he's personally my favorite. What I like about watching JJ Redick instead of these other guys is that when he argues or has a debate with you, he's gonna say it from a logical basketball standpoint. He's gonna be very calm, you know, he's not gonna say, oh, you're dumb because you don't agree with me. And the more and more JJ Redick has come onto ESPN, the more people have started to like him. In fact, I think he actually has a job with ESPN if I'm not mistaken. But there's a reason for that, and it's not just because he's a former player, because you have guys like Kendrick Perkins that know nothing about basketball and yet they're an analyst. And I don't care if you're a former player, that doesn't mean you know basketball. You may have a perspective that not a lot of people have, and for that I give you credit. However, when you don't use perspective in the right way, it's just annoying. Which is why you see a lot of these former players become analysts and they're absolute jokes, and we're like, oh, but they're former players, shouldn't they know everything about this game? However, JJ isn't one of those players. He's a guy that straight up knows the game of basketball, and if you hear him talk, you can tell he's very smart when he's talking about it. Now, there's a clip out there, for the life of me, I cannot find it, but Mikal Bridges is now a correspondent of JJ Redick's podcast. Okay, I lied. I actually just found the clip right now. I'm gonna show it to you guys.
Being the best team and right now, and having, I don't know what months, but having multiple months without losing and stuff. So like, I think at that point there's like, all right, God damn it, I think we just have to kind of talk about them like, fuck.
We have to do at least one segment about that.
Yeah, all right.
I'm not gonna lie, that shit is mad accurate, and I genuinely think that's what happened in the ESPN offices when they're like, alright, fuck, we gotta talk about this team. Which it's like, fuck you, this team has went months without losing games, and they're only finally getting respect when we're about a month away from the playoffs. I do want to remind you guys, around late November last year, Mikal Bridges did actually go on JJ Redick's podcast and did a whole episode. If you guys do want to check that out, I would definitely recommend you do. But JJ Redick did ask the question, like, you know, hey, with the mainstream media not talking about you, even though you guys are really good, what do you think about that? And I think he did say something along the lines of like, oh, you know, we really don't care, we're just trying to win and all that stuff, which I genuinely think he believes. However, I'm still pissed that the media didn't talk about them at the time. But hey, that's why y'all watch me, and Suns Geek, and Ignorance in Basketball. I gotta say, we've came a very long way from about 3 months ago when no one was talking about the Phoenix Suns besides me and those YouTubers I just listed. Yeah, there are some people like D-Flow Hoops and Alex Hoops that do discuss them sometimes. However, it wasn't really a popular topic to talk about, even though they were a really good team. I gotta say, I feel like my mission is accomplished. This is something that I was trying to help Phoenix get, and that was just recognition because they straight up deserved it. It's not like I'm a Sacramento fan and I'm like, oh, we gotta get the media to talk about them. That team fucking sucks. Sorry to Sacramento fans, but your team sucks. And the reality about it is, it was so easy to try to tell people, hey, you should watch this team, you should pay attention to them because they were really good. Of course, there's always going to be people in the media that doubts this team, and you know what? That's what comes when you're the best team in basketball. But let me ask y'all something. Do you guys think when the Phoenix Suns inevitably win the NBA Finals, how do you think analysts are going to be when this team wins? Do you think they're going to be like, oh, they deserved it, good job, well done, or oh, injuries, they got lucky, Mickey Mouse, all this fucking bullshit? I'm not sure, but I do know one thing. It feels really good being the best team in basketball right now.